Woof, okay, it has been about an hour since I recorded my reactions video, so please go check that out if you have not yet. Oh my goodness, the Nintendo Switch 2 is officially the name of the Nintendo Switch successor. And of course, everyone doubted that today would be the day that this happened, but I held strong, I held fast to Pioro, to Nate the Hate, and all of the other people who were corroborating this. This was one of the biggest Nintendo leaks ever of all time. Let's get that out of the way first. Everything was leaked. Everything. The actual console itself was leaked. The kickstand was leaked. The colors were leaked. Everything. The button, the extra button. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about later in this, but the button was leaked. Everything. It was absolutely insane. People were talking about how Pioro, it's not possible, he's not right, it's not right. They won't shadow drop it. Oh, people were getting crazy. The madness was maddening. Yesterday was one of the craziest days of a Nintendo fan I have ever been, that everyone else has been. Everyone was going insane. It was a burning, like, everything was burning. Everything was falling down around all of us on Nintendo Twitter and just everything. And today, Nintendo shadow dropped it on our heads. Nate was right. Pioro was right. And here we are now, looking at our very first look at the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, the very first thing that I want to talk about. At the very end, it said that the company would have hands-on Nintendo Switch 2 experiences that lead up to the Switch's launch. And obviously, we are not going to know when it launches until after the April 2nd, 2025, April 2nd, Nintendo Direct, covering every single thing about the Switch 2. I believe this is our new Nintendo Switch 1 presentation happening on April 2nd. That presentation back in 2017 in January that revealed everything about the console, all the specs, all the games, everything we could expect for the year. That is going to be what this April Direct is. Now, after that April Direct is when everyone will be able to get their hands on this Switch 2. Now, as of the time of this recording, tomorrow, January 17th, is the day that registration opens for a lot of these events. So, if you live in the New York, Los Angeles, or Dallas area, that, I believe, tomorrow is when registration opens for those days. So make sure you go to the website and click, you just make sure you know exactly where you need to be and when you can register if you are planning to go, if you are near that area. So don't forget that. That is tomorrow, registration. As for all of the other locations, in New York, it will be coming April 4th through the 6th. In Los Angeles, it will be coming April 11th to April 13th. In Dallas, it will be coming April 25th to 27th. Toronto, April 25th to also April 27th. Now in Europe, it will be in Paris from April 4th to 6th, in London from April 11th to the 13th, Milan, April 25th to 27th, as well in Berlin, Madrid, May 9th to the 11th, as well as Amsterdam. And then we have all sorts of different places. I don't know how to pronounce this. Melbourne, I believe. Melbourne in May 10th to the 11th. Tokyo from the April 26th to the 27th. Seoul from May 31st to June 1st. And then to be announced in Hong Kong, and I believe I pronounce it Taipei, to be announced. So we're going to get to see hands-on stuff with the Switch 2 right after, just days after the Nintendo Direct, showing us every single thing about the console, which is incredibly smart on their part. They don't want to get our hands on their console without revealing every little detail about it beforehand, so that way no one feels left out. No one is wondering, oh, why can't I go see this if I don't live in this very specific location? But if you do happen to live in any of those places I just listed off, that is where those hands-on events are. So now we know about that. The next thing I want to talk about is the mouse functionality. Now, they absolutely hinted at this with having both of the Joy-Con running across, like it's like sliding across the floor, and they were showing that over and over again, and I was wondering at first if there were wires connected to it, which would have been a huge no-no in my opinion, but no, it's wireless. Those were just the wrist straps connected to the Switch 2 Joy-Con. Now, Mouse functionality has been leaked and has been talked about by the Nintendo community on Twitter for such a long time now. For this past month, it feels like every single day we have had a new leak, a new rumor about the Switch 2, which honestly, looking back, it makes sense because leading up to the reveal trailer, things were just getting so chaotic. People were coming out the woodwork saying they knew stuff. All these models were being put onto Reddit as to what it looked like. We got it pegged. Like, we truly got it pegged. But the mouse functionality is not officially confirmed yet by Nintendo, but in the trailer, it very clearly shows the Joy-Con running across the floor or the table or whatever it's running across. It's sliding like there's a mouse, and in the very front of the Joy-Con, a lot of people might have missed this, there is a new button at the top. Of the little orange part, it shows a little button, and I wonder if that is going to serve as either... It could be, I don't think it's the release function like there would be for the Switch, but I do think that might be the mouse button. There's something with that that's going to relate to the mouse functionality of the Switch 2. Think about Mario Maker, right? People complained in Mario Maker 2 that to make levels, it was so much more complicated than it was on the Wii U, because on the Wii U, it was touchpad, but if you had your Switch connected to the TV, obviously there was no touchpad, so you had to use your little sticks on either the Pro Controller or the Joy-Con to move the items around, and it felt clunky to a lot of people, especially coming off of the heels of the Wii U. Now, with that, and then first-person shooters, and think of Splatoon, right? All of these different games, point-and-click type games, visual novels, all of these games that work a lot better with mouses, like on computers with Steam and all that stuff. You can now use the Joy-Con as a mouse, and that is just genius, by the way. Let's talk about that for a second. It is confirmed now the Joy-Con are going to be used as mouse. And that is absolutely ingenious on Nintendo's part. This is the type of stuff that gets you a leg ahead of the competition. Sony cannot do this. Microsoft cannot do this. All of the people who say that PC is better, blah, 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 they can say whatever they want, but now we have a home console that rivals the PlayStation and the Xbox. We have a handheld console that rivals any handheld on the market, the Steam Deck, whatever you want to call it. Now, with this Joy-Con functionality with the mouse, we have a console that rivals and can be better, has the potential to be better than every other type of platform on the market for playing video games, period. Stardew Valley, all those types of Sims games, all of the games that people would only really play on PC because it just makes the most sense to have a mouse functionality for that, can now be played on the Nintendo Switch 2. That is just absolutely insane. It is game-changing, and it's the type of quote-unquote gimmick that other companies wouldn't dare try. They wouldn't dare have two connectable controllers that you can rip apart and, it might go wrong. And there was so much backlash towards the initial Joy-Con because it just felt, maybe because Nintendo had to hurry the Switch out, they were really trying to get it to the market because of the Wii U's failure. Now they had so much time to truly work through this, that this console is going to be refined and it's not going to have nearly as many issues. But the Switch 1 Joy-Con were one of the worst parts about this Nintendo generation. The console and the system at large, it just wasn't as Nintendo quality as some of its past generations of consoles, and the Joy-Con were one of the biggest culprit of that. Now, I believe the Joy-Con are going to be so much more sturdy, and they doubled down. They could have really shied away from this concept with people's critiques, but they doubled down. They said, no, this is the future. This is the next generation of Switch. This is the next generation of gaming. You will be able to take it on the go, have mouse functionality, play it on your TV. You can do all of the things what everybody else does, you can do on our console day one. That is how you announce a console. That is how you reveal it. And the marketing here is perfect. I mean, it's just perfect. Every shot is intentional. Every shot has a purpose. It is showing off its insane features that we can expect to see more of on April 2nd. What an absolute move, Nintendo. I applaud you for that. Okay, so now that we've talked about some of the pieces of information that I think a lot of people maybe not would have known from the initial trailer itself and just wanted to know more details about, here we go. Let's start from the beginning. The Switch, they made it bigger. They just showed off immediately, this is a bigger Switch. They took the rail system off, they showed off the middle of it, the bottom of it, the USB-C port, they showed off the volume and power buttons, they showed off the USB-C port on the top. which is different than the OG Switch. And then they showed that the kickstand is different and better than ever. They took the idea with the OLED, in which it could be sat on at any angle, and they made it even better, less messy. They showed off the new, bigger Joy-Con, and this is the biggest part of the new Joy-Con outside of the mouse functionality. Obviously, it's bigger, and they gave it a little bit more of an extension on the end of it so you could see the colors, and it's just easier to grasp because a lot of people were complaining it's too small to hold. The colors were so fascinating to me, and the actual sticks themselves. They made the sticks rotate, and they showed how I believe Joy-Con drift will forever be a thing of the past. Like, sure, other game consoles have Joy-Con drift problems, but there were rumors, there were leaks, speculation of the Joy-Con not drifting anymore because of the electromagnetic stuff that's going on to connect the Switch 2 Joy-Cons together. So for whatever reason, the Switch 1 was so bad with drift with a lot of people worldwide, the Switch 2, that will be a thing of the past. Drift is no longer something you have to worry about. Moving on, there was always rumored to be a second button on the Joy-Con below the home button on the right Joy-Con, and that ended up being true. There is a second button below the home button. But what they decided to do, because we have all known for a long time in the Nintendo community that there was a second button, and a lot of people speculated and said that there was a C button, that it was a C, that it had a C on it. But in this trailer, they blacked it out. They did not show what logo or letter or anything is on this button. They went out of their way to cover it up. So that tells me, obviously, they're not ready to talk about that yet. April 2nd, we'll find out more about what that second button does. We're going to find everything out on April 2nd. But it's interesting to me that they don't show us it. And I doubt that I really think that's just trailer magic. I do think that is not what the final button is going to look like. That's not what the final Switch 2 is going to look like. That button is going to have a C on it. Because we have obviously been talking about these leaks for such a long time, and we got the button right in the first place. So there is obviously a possibility that we have to encounter now that there is nothing on that button, but I doubt that. There's going to be at least some type of logo or label or some indent on it in some way. It won't just be a solid, straight black button. Like, that is not going to be. They're going to label it somehow. They just hid it from us in this trailer, and I believe it is the C button. Now, what will that C button do? We've talked for a long time about what it could be. Everyone was saying it would be the electromagnetic button that helps you, like, release the Joy-Cons. I do not think that's the case. A lot of people were saying it could be a chat button, and there were more leaks earlier in the week about how that could be the case, that there was a code name internally for it, like community or campus or whatever it was, and it was a possibility that that's the type of button that you press that just connects you to other types of people. And you can have voice chat on it directly through your Switch, because the first Switch did that horribly. I just don't believe they had time to fully think out the online system and what they were going to do with that. Nintendo has always been a generation behind in so much. They didn't have time. The Wii U was a failure. They needed to get the Switch out fast. They needed something to play amazing games with an amazing concept, and they didn't have time to think about the online side of things until much later in that life, and now up until the Switch 2 itself. So yes, there will be probably a chat function. My prediction was just trying to be unique, and I said it was a shortcut button, which I guess, if it turns out that it's not a C and they're hiding it from us, it very well could be a shortcut button, so maybe I was right, but no, I doubt it. I do think it's probably going to be some type of chat button or community button or whatever they had going on with that. But I do think it's fascinating, and I hadn't seen hardly anybody talk about it, how that button is blacked out and it is just a blank slate. So now I wonder why they're hiding it from us, and we'll obviously know more on April 2nd about that. Now, what we didn't see that I was really surprised we didn't see, I was expecting to see a little bit more about this, was the dock. And obviously, I didn't think they would show off the dock a ton in this trailer, but I did think we would see the back of it, because a lot of people have been talking about the back of it. But no, we didn't see the back of it. We just saw the front of it, and it looks like a regular dock with a little bit of room at the top, a little bit more room than I would have anticipated. The edges are curved this time rather than just rigid like the old Switch was, but we can see a little bit more of the top of the screen when it's in the dock. So that was fascinating to me. Then, we got to see more confirmation of backwards compatibility. Okay, so we know now the Switch 2 will absolutely be able to play both physical and digital Nintendo Switch games. Some people were speculating it might only be digital because of the cartridges and etc. But no, although the Switch 2 cartridges might be different from the OG Switch cartridges, similar with the DS to the 3DS, you will still be able to put your old Switch cartridges inside the Switch 2. That will be amazing for millions and millions of people. Day one, whatever this console launches with, maybe Mario Kart, it will probably be Mario Kart, whatever this console ends up officially launching with, we will have the entire Switch library day one. And it's not confirmed yet, but it is a very, very high possibility that all of those games will be enhanced by the Switch 2. So you will day one have every single console launch game and every single Switch 1 game ever at launch, and that is an amazing thing to have. Day one, we can play Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, all these amazing games, upscaled, hopefully, up-resed, on the go, more power, more everything. See, these Joy-Con, just everything, will be able to use all these new functions on the older games. Now, I wonder if these mouse functionality type things or the new things that the Switch 2 will work on will also be compatible with the older games, or unless they'll have to do like an update for that. I don't know. I don't know if the software will allow, like Splatoon 2 or 3, to have mouse functionality, or if it will just be only Switch 2 exclusives. I have no idea. But I'm fascinated by the concept of it. And again, we just look at the marketing. Whatever they are showing us right now is a sign of what they are concerned the general public will not understand. So they show us Switch 2. First look at the Switch 2. That's what they're trying to push right now. Branding Switch 2. It's the next thing. It's not a Wii U. It's not an extension of the Switch. It's a new thing. It's the brand new next generation. They landed that ship, plane, whatever you call it. They landed that perfectly. We now know it's the next generation. No one's confused. Oh, what is this? Is it a Wii U? What is that? No, it's the Switch 2. We now know exactly what that is. Then they showed us the mouse functionality. So they're showing us, hey, this is different from the Switch 1. This is an experience that you are not going to be able to get with your original Switch. This is why you should buy the Switch 2. Then they showed us, obviously, the Joy-Con and all of that. It's all bigger, it's better, it's beefier. They showed us the sticks rotating just a little bit. I felt like that was a hint at saying, hey, you will not have to worry about your stick drift in this console. We have fixed it. They snap it onto the side, the Switch 2. They're showing us every single thing that we might worry about or not understand in this trailer, and it's so smart. They show us backwards compatibility. They're saying, hey, don't worry, 140 million plus people who own Nintendo Switches. You're good. If you get a Switch 2, don't worry. You could even sell that bad boy and only have the Switch 2, and you're not missing out on a single thing because you can play all your old games on this console. So it's essentially just the next gen. It's more Switch. It's a better Switch. You put your games into our Switch 2, it'll be better than ever, bigger and better. It'll look better, it'll play better, you'll be happier with it. Buy a Switch 2, don't be worried. And April 2nd, that's what they wanted us to know. And also, the one thing I haven't talked about yet, they gave us, before everything else, 2025 was the label that they put on it. This console is officially releasing in the year 2025. So we have 11 months to go, officially 11 months to go. April is the day we know what is going on with the Switch 2. That's the direct, and I hope we don't get leaks for the games and such like that. We probably will, and I will talk about that if it is so. We'll cover all that as it comes, but April 2nd, we will find out, finally, everything about this console. But 2025, it's confirmed. They wanted us to know this year is the year of the Switch 2. I can't remember what I had done in my predictions video for this year or my Switch 2 final predictions video way back when, but I think I had anticipated it coming either October or September or like earlier before the holidays. I might have even said summer. I can't remember what I said, but for it to be revealed now in January, April, we get the big blowout of information. Now, back in 2017, January was the big blowout of information, and then we got it a couple months later in March. So it's very, very possible that we could get this console as early as June or July if it follows that same type of path. Now, just from the announcement itself, from us not even getting a tweet about saying, hey, tune in this day for a Nintendo Switch 2 trailer, they didn't even do that. So obviously, this is different. Nintendo is the kings of left field. They are absolutely insane. They do whatever they want. They don't follow any trends that we might find. But hey, if it were to follow the similar type of path of the Switch, it could be as soon as a month or even 2 months after the reveal. So May, June, July, that's about as early as it's going to get for you to have it in your hands, and that's really, really smart for them to release it a little bit before the holidays to get that third quarter, second quarter push where they can get a lot of sales out immediately and then ride the high of the holiday sales, the Black Friday, the Christmas, the New Year's, the holidays of everyone just being out and happy and spending all their money because capitalism in America and, worldwide people do this as well. It's not just America, but still, obviously that is when the most sales for your console will happen, the most sales for your games will happen. So yeah, that is the Switch 2 trailer. That's about everything that I saw externally that they didn't tell you in the trailer, inside the trailer, outside of the trailer. Every little bit that you're going to want to know, that is here. And I want to also just circle around a little bit and talk about that USB-C port on the top. That was also something that was leaked. It's going to be a USB-C port on the bottom and at the top. So if for whatever reason you wanted to plug in something to your Switch while it was docked, maybe some type of controller like a Pro controller or a third-party controller, you could do that. You can plug it directly into the top of the system with your USB-C, or if it's just like on handheld mode or on tabletop mode and you have it reclined in its tabletop mode with the new kickstand, you're going to be like, oh, how do I charge it when the bottom of it is on the table? Now you can plug it in on the top. So if you can't have access to your TV, but you want to play your Switch, but it needs to be charged, you can still do that and have it in tabletop mode. They thought over every single thing the Switch 1 did wrong or could have been improved upon, and they did it here. That is the Switch 2. Bigger, better, more enhanced, everything you could ever want, fixed, and better. It's just better. That's the Switch 2. That's their message to us. Now, you might be wondering, oh, Ray, you have not talked about the new Mario Kart, and that is because I literally have to talk about it in its own video. There is too much new stuff. After I have looked in it and looked on X and what everyone else is talking about, I am going to make its own video for the new Mario Kart, analyzing it because there is a lot more details than you would have imagined from just like 15-20 seconds of new gameplay. So, make sure you like and subscribe this video if you enjoyed the breakdown of me telling you every single thing about the Switch 2 that you might have missed. I appreciate your support. Join my membership program for early access to videos. Click that notification bell to know when videos just like this drop, because I will be covering every single bit of information about this console leading up to April and leading up to its eventual release. Thank you so much for being amazing, for watching this video to the very end. I love you all so much. I am so appreciative of you. I am so excited to be there right with you. We are in it, in the Switch hype together. Let's freaking go. You make sure you have yourself a wonderful Switch 2 announcement day. I will do the same. More videos coming soon. The Mario Kart breakdown coming soon. And that will probably be my last video for today and the weekend until next week, unless more information drops over the weekend. So thank you so much. Make sure you stay tuned to my Twitter account for more information. Make sure you click on the left video if you want to watch my initial reactions, first reactions to the Nintendo Switch 2, and click on the right if you want to watch a playlist of all my videos about the Nintendo Switch 2 leading up to today. It's finally revealed. You make sure you have a phenomenal day. I have been Ray. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk, and I will see you all in the next Mario Kart video.